Hello all. Today we are going to talk about how to explore DB2 pureScale instance using DB2 cluster command. The DB2 cluster command is broadly divided into two categories, a CM based command and a CFS based command, cluster file system based command and cluster manager based commands. To take a look at the help of this CM based command, we can use DB2 cluster -cm. I'm executing these commands as root. So to take a look at the help of DB2 cluster CM based commands, we can use DB2 cluster -cm -help -advanced. And here you can see options for starting, stopping and listing. In this tutorial, I'm only going to concentrate on list part of the command. The start and stop we will take a look into another video. Now to take a look at the help of CFS based command, you just replace the CM with CFS. So DB2 cluster -CFS -help -advanced again as root user. Okay. Now before we actually take a look at all these examples, I want to show you how my instance is set up. So my instance looks like this. I'm using instance owner. So you see this is the instance owner. This particular command DB2 cluster I fired using root user. This particular command I'm using the instance. So here you can see I have got two particular nodes, DB1 or DB2, or two hosts. Both hosts are currently active. Is my instance stopped? No, my instance is not stopped. On each host I have a member and a CF. So on DB1 I have a member and a CF, and on DB2 I have a member or a CF. Or I could put this in other words is on DB1 and DB2 I have member each. On DB1 and on DB2 I have CFs. So basically the way I have configured is both the hosts are members, both the hosts are CF. One of them is primary, one of them is secondary. Now this is the command which gives the overall picture of our instance, but there are many other commands. So to get the list of cluster manager domain, this is the command DB2 cluster -cm -list -domain. This command gives us the name of the cluster manager domain. Let's fire this command and take a look. So my cluster manager domain name is DB2 domain underscore the timestamp when I created that particular domain. To look at the host which are my cluster managers, how many hosts are my cluster managers or cluster members? 2, DB1 and DB2. So output of this command should be exactly 2. Okay. Output of this command should be exactly 2. So the host which are my members is DB1 and DB2, as can be seen here. My DB1 and DB2 both are my members, and hence I get that as output here. The name of my CFS cluster domain. So the name of my CFS cluster domain is DB2 cluster underscore timestamp with db.com. See the difference here. This says it's a DB2 domain and this says it's a cluster domain. So to name the CFS, the cluster file system based domain, it's a DB2 cluster. To see the cluster manager domain, it is the DB2 domain. So see, the commands are exactly similar, pretty similar. So I'll just clean this up. So this is one command and this is one command. So you just replace CM with CFS to get the name of the CFS domain. This is the cluster manager domain. The next command is what are the hosts which are part of my CF. So again from this command you can see DB1 and DB2 are both of my CFs. So let's prove that. So here also we should get the output. Again I have done this mistake. So both of DB2 cluster -CFS -list host shows what are the hosts which are my CFs, DB1 and DB2. These are my CFs, as you can see from here as well. Okay, the next command that we are going to see is what is the file system name and mount point. Okay, so what is the file system and mount point? So DB2 FS1 is my file system name. It is mount point is DB2 SD data. We can see or review this information from KiCad if it is the FS step. So you see my file system is DB2 FS1. It is mounted on DB2 SD data. Exactly similar information that we got here. So DB2 cluster minus CFS minus list minus file system. DB2 cluster minus CFS minus list minus file system tells us what is the mount point that we are using for the GPFS file system. The next command is verify whether the host is in maintenance mode. So this particular command will tell us whether the host is in the maintenance mode. So host DB1 is not in maintenance mode. Obviously it is not, because it is active. The host DB1 is active, and hence this command shows us it is not in the maintenance mode. If it was in the maintenance mode, we could see this in the maintenance mode. So before going to the next page, what I'll do, I'll just review some of the commands. So DB2 cluster has got two broad categories: cluster manager commands, cluster file system based commands. To take a look at the help, you can use this particular command db2 cluster minus cm minus help minus advanced. To take a look at the cfs based, okay, I should have put cfs here. To take a look at the cfs based command, you will say db2 cluster minus cfs minus help minus advanced. To list the peer domain for cluster manager, you will use this particular command. To list the host which are part of your cluster manager, you will use this particular command. So you see, list domain, list host, list domain, list host, cm, cm, cfs, cfs. It's minute difference, but that actually will give us the these particular commands are cm based. This particular command is a cfs based. Domain for cm, domain for cfs, host for members, host for cfs. The mount point, where our GPFS file system, you can use db2 cluster minus cfs minus list the file system. To verify whether the cm member is in the maintenance mode, you will use db2 cluster minus cm minus verify maintenance mode. Now to verify that the file system is valid to use with db2, we will use this particular command. So we have created a file system. Is it really valid for use with db2? So file system db2 fs1 is valid for usage with db2. So this particular command verifies that the file system that we have created db2 fs1, that particular file system, is it valid for db2? So this is the file system, is it valid for db2? And we can use this command db2 cluster minus cfs minus verify minus configuration minus file system, the name of the file system. So this command tells us whether the file system is valid for usage with db2. The next command that we are going to take a look is what are the physical disks. Do you remember the first video that we entered, and in that particular video I mentioned dev/sdd. So dev/sdd is the command, the device or the external file disk which is attached to this particular host as part of pureScale. So let's verify that. So it's a dev STD. So dev STD is the disk or the physical disk which is used as a GPFS. So this particular command tells us what disks are the physical disks which are involved under this particular file system. That information we cannot find from the cat if it is a FS step, because it only tells us the mount point and the physical name of the device. It doesn't tell us the actual physical device name. So that particular thing can be found using db2 cluster minus list minus file system db2 fs1. So for this particular file system, okay, can you tell us what disks are involved? So this is the command. The next command is the configuration. This particular command gives us a lot of information. Okay, you can verify that information. So lot of the information, mount point, size, block size, lot of the information. So you can take a look at this particular information. I'm not going to explain of all of this, but if you want to take a look at the configuration for this file system, so you'll say db2 cluster minus cfs minus list minus file system db2 fs1 minus configuration. So minus configuration will give us the information about the file system. This particular command will tell us whether there is any alert for this particular instance. Obviously you can see there are no alerts, no point of running this particular command because it will show there is no alert. So I'm not going to spend my time, but because there are no alerts, so this particular command actually tells us if there are any alerts for this particular instance. Okay, let me actually run this. Okay, there are no alerts. Okay, I said that there is no point, but still I ran. Okay, simply because there are currently no alerts. If there were some alerts, it would have shown what are those alerts, and it would have pointed us in the direction of what we can potentially do. So before going to the next page, I'll just repeat. If the GPFS FS is valid, we will use this particular command, db2 cluster minus CFS minus verify configuration for file system db2 fs1. So this is the command that we will use to verify if the file system is valid. Which disk? This particular thing will tell us dev/std because that's a physical disk. This particular command will give us the configuration information about the file system. This particular command will give us the alerts. Okay, so moving on to next page, the next command that we are going to take a look at is the DB2 instance. Remember that all the commands that I fired DB2 cluster, they were executed using the root user. The next command is DB2 instance command. That particular command is, we have already executed that command. So this is the command, and I have used the instance owner. So DB2 instance command has to be used as a DB2 instance or someone who has mounted the profile. So I'm going to use this particular command to look at my instance. So let's see the variations of this particular command. So db2 instance minus list is the command which gives us the entire picture of pureScale instance. So this is the entire picture of my pureScale instance. The next command that we are not interested in the CFs. We only want to know what are the members. So you can use the db2 instance minus list, but now we will use the filter called member. So if you use this particular command, you will only get the information about members. We have got two members, db1 and db2, and it now doesn't give us any information about the CFs. It only gives us the information about members. If we want to see the CFs, only the CF, not the members. So this is so one primary, one peer. These are the two CFs that we have got. Okay, and these are the two members that we have got. The next one is, okay, so this is very interesting. This particular command is very interesting. What this particular command will do is, I don't want to know the members, I don't want to know the CFs. What I want to know is what is running on DB1 only. So instead of using this particular command, what I will do is, now here we saw the members, here we saw the CF. Now what is running on my host DB1? Okay, so let's run this. So we know that on host DB1 there is a member, on host DB1 there is a CF with ID 128. Let's take a look at what is running on my host DB1. So db2 instance minus list minus host minus db1. So this particular command will show that this host is active. It has got one member which is with ID 0. It has got one CF which is primary CF with ID 128. So this particular command. So if I don't want to know what I want to know, what is the impact of shutting down DB1? So I can just run this command, and this particular command will give me anything and everything that is running on host DB1. How many CFs, how many members, how many, what if the host is active. Now if, okay, so some of the miscellaneous commands. These are the commands that we will use to know about our TSA MP. So LSM, again we will use root, and you see LSM, it gives us a lot of output. These are some of the resources, and some of the resources are down. This is valid. Okay, they are correct. So LSM will tell us all the resources which are up, which are down. We can use the LSM minus V option to take a look at the tree kind of structure. So this is the tree kind of structure. So the command that I fired was LSM minus V, caps V, the tree kind of structure. So this particular tree kind of structure is, you can use LSM minus V, and it gives us the dependency information. The next one is peer domain. So we want to know about the peer domain. So if I just don't use minus L option, let me clear the screen. So if I don't use minus L option, this particular output is in the one horizontal line. Now if I want to break this information in multiple lines, I'll just use minus L, and you see same information I get again, but this time using minus L. So this is my domain information, the DB2 domain or cluster manager domain, and what is the TSAMP version. So this is the version. Okay, so next one is, what are my nodes or information about the current node. So Let me just run this. Okay, so these are two of my nodes. Okay, so these are two of my nodes and both the nodes are up and running right now. If I want to get the information about the GPFS file system, then this is the command mmls cluster. The mmls cluster is going to give me the information about my GPFS file system. So GPFS file system is mounted, or the demo, what is my primary server, what is my secondary server. You can see this. Okay, so okay, that's not the one. My primary is DB1 while my peer is DB2. Same thing here. My primary is DB1 and my secondary is DB2. So this particular command mmls cluster gives me a lot of information about my file system or GPFS file system. The next command is the network shared disk. So -L is really a long form, so I could potentially just use this much and I'll not get the NST server name, but if I say -L, I'll get the NST volume ID and whether it is directly attached. So mmls ND is for the daemons or the network shared disk information. The next one is get state. Okay, the GPFS domain, this one. So here get state, my current host is 1 DB2 and GPFS state is active. Now there are multiple variations. So what I will do, if I want to get the information about both the nodes, I'll just say -A. So now that information will be on both of the machines. So if I use -A options, so if I just say get state, I get the information about current node. If I use -A option, I get the information about all the active nodes. The next one is, if I use -L option, I get the same information but now slightly higher information, so slightly more information. If I use -L -A, I get the same information but now for both the nodes. Okay, so let me just repeat this. So if I just do this, I get the information about current node. If I do this, I get the information about both the nodes. If I do this, I get the information about both single node but slightly more information. And if I want this information about both the nodes, I use this command. If I want to get the summary, I will use this particular option. So this is the summary for my current host. The next command is, I want to find out what is my level of GPFS. What is the level of GPFS? So that command you have to fire from the GPFS library. So GPFS, check GPFS -V. Okay, so to check the version of GPFS, you will use this particular command. So let me clear this. So if somebody asks you what is the version of GPFS, is 3.5017. That's the version of GPFS. And what is the version of TSA-MP libraries? That we can get from check TSA command -V install, and that output shows 3.2.2.8. So I'll just quickly go through this particular document of what we have covered. We have covered three commands. Basically, first command was DB2 cluster, CM based, CFS based. We looked at how to take a help. Then we saw how to take a look at the help, the name of the domain, CM domain, how to take a look at the host which are involved in CM, how to take a look at the CFS domain, how to take a look at the host part of CFS, what is the file system, whether the host is in maintenance mode, what is the configuration for that particular file system, what is the disk which is attached to that particular file system, again the configuration, any alerts for that particular instance, DB2 instance, all of these commands as part of root. So DB2 cluster as part of root, DB2 instance commands as part of your instance. DB2 instance -list gives the entire picture. List -member will give the list of only members. List -cf will only give the list of CFs. List -host DB1 will give the information about everything that is running on only on this particular host which we have specified. Miscellaneous command lsm for the list of resource groups, lsrp domain to give the information of peer domain, lsrp node to give the nodes which are involved in the peer domain, mmls cluster to get the information about GPFS file system, the mmlsd for the network shared disk, and get state for the current GPFS domain. Daemon, sorry, not domain, daemon. So hope this tutorial was useful. These are some of the basic commands that you will use while working with the pureScale. These are literally really the basic commands, and these particular commands will give you idea of how to take a look at your cluster, what information you can gather and what command that you can fire. The main ones is DB2 cluster and the DB2 instance. DB2 cluster is actually a really powerful. If you see here, you can do multiple things with this particular command. So if I just do, so there are so many options. What I have covered today was only the list part. So we have add, remove, delete, start, stop. So start and stop I'll cover in the next video, and add, remove, delete in some other video. But right now what we saw was a list command. Hope this tutorial was useful. Thank you, and do pass in comments so that I can improve or provide you a better video. Thank you.